With your host, Knotty Karate.
Scruffy-looking nerf herder.
And a rotating roundtable of awesomeness.
Oh, switch off.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes In-Depth.com podcast.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Welcome back to the SWGOH In-Depth podcast. It's been many weeks since we've talked to you. There's a lot of changes in the game, and we're going to get into those in probably too much depth for you here. But before we start, I do want to plug that we are going to have an Ask Me Anything event, which will be kind of a live version of the podcast that we do. So if you get on our Discord server, which Nukin will link for you to join us, write down any questions, and we'll have a live event where we'll all be able to have this discussion, not just pre-recorded. But without further ado, hey, Nukin, let's talk about Yoda-licious, Grandmaster Yoda. We have so much news to get through, so let's get to it, man.
Right.
What you got?
We're going to talk about Yoda in just a second. If you want to join this live AMA, which is Ask Me Anything, not American Medical Association, you can go into the video description and click the link to join the Discord. Or if you're incapable of clicking a link, you can go to discord.me/Nukin and join the Discord. And we're going to make an announcement on the Discord for more details about the AMA event. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be on voice chat. Okay, now let's talk about Yoda.
So let's go into what were the changes to Yoda. How did Yoda, as the last legendary character who was not awesome, become awesome, and why?
So Grandmaster Yoda did get a rework. So he was a legendary character like Palpatine that was basically, needed a little bit of a little oomph, and he got it. And so now he is actually a very strong Jedi leader against Darth Nihilus and the heroic Sith raid. And you may have watched some of my Yoda-licious videos. I made 2 of them. And basically the team is Grandmaster Yoda, Hermit Yoda, Ezra Bridger, and then the last 2 spots are kind of flexible. We have Qui-Gon Jinn, Ayla Secura, and Anakin, who you can put on the team. And then you can also put on a healer like Visas Mar or Barriss Offit. Have you guys run this team yet?
Yeah, actually, I have. And running it from a perspective of within Arena, we'll talk about Bastila later. But I think Grandmaster Yoda's best ability is that when he does his little, the one ability before the other ability, he steals
like the doohickey
from everybody and then passes them over immediately. Yeah, his doohickey. He gets to do his other thing right after that. That is a huge change for him and makes him much more versatile for being on teams other than leadership. But the Yoda-licious team is amazing against Nihilus.
So you Zeta'd his leadership?
No, I did not Zeta his leadership for the Sith trade. I just Zeta'd his.
Am I the only one that did?
Whose leadership? Was it
Grandmaster Yoda?
Grandmaster Yoda? No, I have not. I have not done that yet. That's the next one. That's the next one I'm doing, though.
Okay. So basically, I guess since I have the most experience, I will just say a few pointers. This team is pretty good. And the trick is to go in to the first half of the phase, the first 50%. It's much easier because whenever Grandmaster Yoda attacks, he's going to be getting a bunch of turn meter. And that turn meter gain is helpful to basically cycle through all his cooldown on his abilities. He has a lot of them. They have quite high cooldown. So doing the Yodalicious team against Darth Nihilus in phase 1 is going to be way better at the beginning versus the last half of the phase. So that's another.
And the reason for that is if he's attacking a character over 50% health, he has different mechanics, right?
Yep. So you can, if you're going to run the resistance as well in phase 1, which is also a very strong team, and you're going to try and run both teams in the same phase, then what I would do is run the Yodalicious team first and then run your resistance team. And you have 2 very strong teams in phase 1 against Darth Nihilus. And then I have another tip here. If you're going to run this team, you actually can run this team without Visas Mar or Barriss Offee, but it is much more difficult. I actually didn't do a video on this, but I was able to actually run it with just Hermit Yoda being the only character that could heal people up after Annihilate from Darth Nihilus. It is possible to do around 2+ million damage without even Visas or Barriss, but it's way more consistent if you put Visas Mar or Barriss Offee. So that's another tip. And then my last tip here, and then we'll kind of go on to the solo movie characters and the KOTOR tunes. If I were to kind of compare Qui-Gon Jinn, Aayla Secura, and Anakin, Qui-Gon Jinn is probably the best in slot there, but
for the raid.
For the Yodalicious team. But if we're going to not use Qui-Gon Jinn, and it was between Aayla Secura and Anakin, I actually like Anakin better, especially if he's not the one that is using Unbreakable Will, because he gets all that full turn meter and a big damage boost when some characters go below half HP, which happens quite often when you're facing off against Darth Nihilus. So,
yeah, okay, that's a good point.
All right.
Yeah.
So enough about Yodalicious. If you want to know more, go to my YouTube channel and watch the Yodalicious videos. Let's talk about the solo movie characters.
Okay, so our last podcast, which was early last month, was the newest characters that we had were Nest, Kira, Younghan, and Fandor Chewbacca, I believe. Is that correct? And since then, we've seen Lando, L3, and Range Trooper show up. So let's focus on these characters in terms of importance, because especially as a free-to-play player, it's important when you get a slew of new characters that you know what is worth your investment in terms of gear, in terms of credits, in terms of ability mats, things like that. So I think the undisputable champion of what the solo movie brought to the game is Enfys Nest. Does anyone have a dispute about that?
Not at all. Not at all. I absolutely love Enfys Nest, and both of my large accounts are actively working on her and getting her to total max.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's also arena viable in the top competition shards. My shard is like over 2 years old, and a lot of people are using her as their 5th on their arena team under Treya or EP. Or under resistance as well. Like she's super versatile. Really, really super value add to the game, I have to say, as a character. And I'm disappointed personally that if we get a new movie that is focused on, you know, like Donald Glover, Lando, and Young Han, like these characters rank at the bottom of the new important ones. But Nukin, can you rank for me? Tell me which ones you think are the most important under Ness. Is it the droid? Is it Range Trooper? Is it Chewie? And why?
Sure. So I'll do my personal ranking and then see if you guys agree with me. So I definitely, I think we're all in agreement that Enfys Nest was the superior character out of all the solo movie characters. I think that L3 might be the second most important solo movie character followed by Range Trooper, and which was the only dark side character that came from that sort of solo
that's true.
movie.
He is the only one. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then after that, we have a bunch of the rest of them are going to be light side, of course. Vandor Chewie's probably right after Range Trooper, followed by Young Han, Kira, and lastly, I think Young Lando. It's probably between Kira or Young Lando being the least viable characters that you probably should not be focusing on, at least at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense to me. Also, I didn't realize that, I think just now, I realized that most scoundrels in the game are light side, which doesn't make sense because they're like cheating, conniving jerks most of the time, you know? But, and a new leadership ability for scoundrels specifically should be more valuable. So I think Kira probably could have ranked higher, but overall, I've not seen anyone really using the prepared buff that was introduced with this team, and no one in Arena is running solo characters other than Nest. So I think that ranking is pretty appropriate.
Oh, I think the Range Trooper should go up one spot myself. I think it should be Nest and Range Trooper. Range Trooper, I think, is just I personally, I think it's just overall better. It adds a lot of dynamics to the Imperial Troopers, which they were good in the first place, but this just really puts them over the top. And you can't undervalue the fact he's got furry shoulders and Gundam boots. And when he stomps, and you know, and then when he stomps, he's got those LED lights that just kind of shoot up and light the way. So if he's in the snow, he's going to be a freaking target out in the snow, because every time he stomps, he's going to have these red LEDs that basically light up his feet.
But does he offer, so the ranking between L3 and Range Trooper is that Range Trooper adds a hugely significant value, much like Stark does to a trooper team. But is he plug and play character like L3 can be in other venues because she has a pre-taunt?
Not really, but in the sense that I think in overall value, I think that Range Trooper trumps L3, just in my opinion on that, even though L3 might be more versatile. But I love my Trooper boys. I can't help it. I like my pimp Trooper.
So L3 is the more versatile. Yes. He is ranked third.
Right. Exactly. Is in that sense, but the overall value on what the Range Trooper brings, especially to the Imperial Troopers, just vastly improves the entire dynamics.
Right. But if someone doesn't have troopers, their answer would be get your Nest up, get your L3 up, get your Range Trooper up. Also get your troopers up. You idiot. Yeah. Why don't you have those yet?
Yeah, and Kira and Lando, they can kind of swap positions there in that sense, because both of them are kind of more or less useless.
Yeah, I feel like we did get a lot of fluff characters from this. But also, in this regard, I guess we talked about the solo cast enough. Nest is the bee's knees. L3 is pretty cool. Range Trooper is awesome, especially on an Imperial Trooper team. I totally agree. Mine's 4 stars and like gear 10. And he crushes it. The assists alone he offers are amazing. And the retribution, that makes that team nuts.
Dudes, the boots alone puts him in second place. What can I say?
You just like the animation. Let's be fair here.
I do. I really do.
Contest.
Okay, so let's go on to, so we got a bunch of new characters other than this. In fact, the cadence of characters has been so frequent lately that I think, especially for most free-to-play players, it's kind of daunting of what to focus on. So that's kind of what I'm trying to dial us in on what is important to be looking at. So the KOTOR tunes, Knights of the Old Republic, Basta Lashan is easily the best of these. But Nukin, can you detail for us like all the ones that we have? Because this is like another 5 characters, right?
Right. Yeah, there's been so many characters that have come out in the last few months that I think everyone is just like, no more characters. But of course, we'll probably get a few more in August. For the KOTOR characters, well, I think that you're on the right track, that Bastila is probably the best one. I think it's pretty clear that Bastila and Nest are probably the two best characters that have come out recently. So the other 4 KOTOR characters probably after Bastila would be Zalbar, T3, Jolie Bindo, and Mission Val being probably the worst of the bunch. And also,
why is she the worst? Can you detail why?
Also, if we're going to talk about fashion and Range Troopers boots, Mission Val does not look very good in the game.
Yeah, her animation sucks.
No, her animation, actually, she kind of looks like she's squatting.
She looks like she needs to
You know why? It's because they gave her the same skeleton as Stormtrooper.
What I was trying to say. Yes, she's
the color of a porta potty. Okay,
she looks like the bad end of a department lipstick. Is what she looks like.
You know what? So now that we're kind of like taking little jabs at the art team, I do want to say the art team does a good job, but you know, I'm going to be super critical here, and then we'll get into some theory crafting.
Okay.
Zalbar, I don't like his model either. He looks kind of like worse than he did in the Knights of the Old Republic game, which is 15 years ago. And Bastila Shan, hold on. I want to rant here now. Bastila Shan, she's supposed to be like a Victoria's Secret model babe, and she doesn't look too good in the game either, you know?
No.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree.
Something I don't know about the models, but anyways, okay, now for the theory crafting. Enough ranting. Bastila Shan, really good on the Jedi team.
Is good because she presents a new leadership.
Yep. We talked about Grandmaster Yoda's rework. He actually goes on the Bastila team when you're doing PvP content. And then also, Bastila is actually a very decent Darth Sion leader with the Jedi in the Heroic Sith raid as well. Not so much against Darth Nihilus, but much better against Darth Sion. So Bastila is very good in arena settings, TW settings, in the raids as a leader. So very good character. And Zalbar is kind of like Royal Guard 2.0. What do you think?
Oh, really? Royal Guard.
2.0.
I guess so to some extent, but he can call his own taunt when you use it. So
yeah, true.
But he also has a reactive taunt like GK.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a little bit of both. I think if he's fully geared up, that he is probably the best plug and play character from the KOTOR tunes, because it increases his versatility, much like Nest. You can put her on any team and it makes the team better. Whereas Bastila, you need her all Jedi. If you have Bastila on a team, especially as leader, why? Unless they're all Jedi. But she makes a bunch of Jedi like 1,000% better.
I kind of wish that Royal Guard got reworked and his kit became what Zalbar's was.
Yeah.
and I agree with that. Yeah.
If Royal Guard had a pre-taunt, he would make an Empire or a Sith team much more formidable.
Right. And then after that, it kind of just falls off. I mean, T3, I was expecting, a lot of people were expecting, and we'll talk about how you can acquire him and maybe a little bit of drama behind it. But T3, I was expecting T3 to be like the R2D2 and the
I agree
of the KOTOR. And maybe I'm speaking too early, but he's really not as strong as them. I'm kind of disappointed in him. So maybe there's a droid rework or new droids coming down the pipeline. But as of right now, you kind of need BB-8 to actually make T3 good, which is weird because BB-8 is a character that came out almost a year ago or something like that. So it's strange. So, and then Jolie and Mission Val, then it goes really down, way down. Jolie and Mission Val are probably, they're characters that, if they become hard node farms, they should be at the bottom of your priority list. They are not very amazing characters. They don't add a lot of value.
One shard a day from them. They have horizontal synergy. They're not standalone characters, and even their horizontal synergy is kind of mediocre. So, anyways, that's the sort of review of the KOTOR characters. So, ELDR, Bastila, and Zalbar are the way to go. Let's talk about T3 and the Android exclusive. Okay. So let's talk about that. So the big controversy about this is that somehow, I don't know if it's that iOS doesn't pay CG money or something, but somehow Android platforms seems to get special bonuses like K2SO just being delivered to them. But then again, iOS got wedged. I think everyone forgets that early, like a year and a half ago, iOS users got wedged during the Rebel meta, which was far more valuable than getting K2SO at 3 stars for free. So anyway, the marquee event for T3 this time around, it's not the same because if you can log in on an Android device or link your account to Android and then log in on an emulator, you get T3 anyway, but he's one tier above Jolie and Mission Val in the characters you should be focusing on. So is it that big a deal? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, he's he's basically a Roomba with legs. That's all it is, and I just feel like I want to put a little fluffy tail on him and have him walk around and go woof woof or something. But that's about all the value that he seems to have. I would love to see something a little bit better for the droid teams because those guys need to be beefed up quite a bit.
Hold on. For all of our listeners, if you're not aware of what a Roomba is, why don't you tell them what it is?
It's a vacuum cleaner.
It's basically, you look at T3 and you take his little head off, which that's the round part of the Roomba, and you stick that on a floor. And then you turn it on and it vacuums up your floor while you're not there. And it goes around and has little sensors and bounces off of everything. I'm pretty
sure any of the nerds listening to us know what a freaking Roomba is. We don't need to detail this.
You got to cover all the bases. You never know.
Got to cover all the bases. Some people will go, do you mean Rumba or Roomba? It's like if it's Rumba,
it's an automatic vacuum cleaner with the shape of the head of the droid T3.
Roomba?
Yeah, it's like a saucer head.
You remember the one guy that was at Zumba where you do like a dance and it's supposed to work you out?
Oh my God,
like
yes.
Dancing to music.
Yeah, the Roomba kind of reminds me of that.
Out to music.
Well, anyway.
That reminds you of people, of middle-aged women exercising to music from the 90s?
Let's go. You'll never look at your T3 ever again the same way. Okay, but back.
Okay,
let's bring it back.
Let's back it up. Yeah.
Let's provide a solution for everyone. So I am going to link in the video description a link to being able to download an Android emulator. It's called BlueStacks. It is very it's very good. You can actually, it's not choppy. You can actually even record footage from it. I've been using it for the past few weeks. All you got to do if you're on iOS and you want to get T3 and you don't want to wait until the Android exclusive is over, download that BlueStacks in the video description and the link. And all you got to do is go into the corner, the very top left, and then you can link your device. And then you can actually play your account on the Android emulator on your computer. And the game doesn't recognize anything. You can then unlock and do the marquee event for E3. And then you can go back to your iOS device and you'll have them right there. So that's the solution.
Right. Thanks, dude. Also relevant in this case is if you don't want to do that, just wait a couple of weeks and then you'll be able to get a mediocre character in a marquee event if you're on iOS.
No, it's
right?
safer.
Am I right?
think it's safer to get it because you never know. You like if you have the opportunity, you should definitely do it. It's really quick. I think everyone should actually do it.
I leveled him to level 50 with 3 stars just so I could park mods on him and search for them on .gg. So anyway, let's okay, enough about this stupid droid. let's go on to, I know you have a lot to talk about with, so we do have a new ship. This is pretty great because we have a lot of achievements in the game that are unachievable, like get 20 dark side ships. They don't exist. But we now have 3 Sith ships that exist that have synergy with each other. And the Sith Fighter is a new thing. Nukin, I know you have a lot to say about this, man, because I'm not using this ship personally. So fill us in, dude.
All right. So I have a video on this. And actually, by the time you guys are listening, there'll probably be a second video on the channel here about the Sith Fighter. And it is a new ship, finally a new ship. It's been a while since we got one. Sith Assassin is the pilot. If you were using Sith Assassin in the Darth Maul meta, you probably have her at least gear 10 or 11. And even in the Darth Traya meta, some people were using her and still continue to use her. So Sith Assassin is a pilot for the ship. And if you have a geared 11 or gear 12 Sith Assassin, you can actually use the Sith Fighter from the get-go at the starting stars, which I believe is 3 stars, and actually win battles on offense, which is great. You don't actually have to go crazy. Now, keep in mind that if you want to use the reinforcement ability, you're actually gated by stars. You need to have a 5-star ship to upgrade a reinforcement ability to level 3. But that actually doesn't, come into play here because from all my testing, the Sith Fighter is actually best in the starting rotation and not as a reinforcement, at least as of right now. So, and as of right now, we have 3 starting Sith ships. We have High Advance, which is piloted by Darth Vader, of course, and Darth Maul, the Scimitar. So we have 3 Sith ships. So maybe if we get a Sith fleet commander or more Sith ships, it might be better to run the Sith Fighter as a reinforcement. But right now, actually best to run the fighter in the starting room.
Who could possibly be the Sith commander? I'm sorry to interrupt. But who would they do that with?
I don't know.
There's no. Okay. Anyway, sorry, dude.
I have no idea. But it would be cool, So
here's another question I want to ask you is, in the starting lineup, I've noticed that the AI will always target the lowest health, lowest protection ship. And for any assists that are called, especially if you're fighting, like the Geo ship lineup, they'll always target the Sith ship first. And it just dies. And then you lose all the value of the health down, which is the counter to Biggs or something.
I think you're being a little bit hyperbolic. I don't think it always happens that way.
I'm known for that. Anyway, go ahead. Let's talk more about.
But actually, let's talk about what is this ship designed to do. It's designed to counter Biggs. Biggs, from the very beginning, has been the best taunting ship in the game. And some might argue continues to still be the best taunting ship in the game. And what this ship does, it actually has healing immunity, which is not a new debuff to ships, but it's on the basic attack. So it's much easier and more consistent. You're going to keep that sort of healing immunity buff. You're going to have more opportunities to apply it, and you should be able to kind of consistently sort of apply it throughout the match as long as the fighter is alive. So that's one thing.
Right, because his default target will be one that he can prevent from regaining protection.
Right. And also health as well, because there's a lot of healing abilities And so that is big. And then second of all, the Sith Fighter is actually good because you can provide a lot of turn meter gain when ships drop below 100% HP. And you can apply defense penetration, which is a great buff for your Sith ships. And it makes TIE Advance hit like a truck. So that's also some strengths of this ship. And so now let's kind of discuss, what's kind of like the best fleet commander to use this ship on. What are your thoughts?
I would think Tarkin.
Yeah, I think Tarkin's good. And if you were to pick one other ship,
well, Thrawn as well.
Yeah, Chimera. Chimera is probably the most flexible capital ship in the game. But this ship actually does not crit ever, and Chimera has crit damage bonuses. So it's actually best to run it on the Executrix Tarkin ship. So
yes, I was right. Yes.
Yep. Good job. And now let's wrap it up with: is this a ship that you use in Fleet Arena, or is this more of a TW ship? And is it worth whaling on? So,
I don't know. If you whale on this ship and 7-star it, because I feel like ships are more dependent on stars than characters are in many ways. Because you can run like a 3-star Enfys Nest. She's an attacker. You can run a low-star tank and do fine with it. But in terms of ships, if they're lacking in stars, it seems to affect their performance in ways that characters don't. So I think that if I had like my C fleet, not my A or B fleet in Territory Wars, and I was going up against someone who has bigs, I would definitely take the Sith Fighter on there just to, make Biggs impotent in terms of his protection ability and probably still be able to win the battle. Is it worth whaling on? I'm not going to. Does that answer the questions?
Well, everyone should just listen to what you're going to do, right?
Well, I certainly wouldn't.
That's my perspective. What do you think, Heavy?
I don't think it's really worth whaling on. But in Fleet Arena, I don't know. I'd have to test it out first, especially if it's going to be full max.
Every day?
No, I don't actually. I still have a little bit of work to do on some of my ships, and I've got a couple of really tough shards. So I can usually sit in the top 20. Once in a while, I'll get to like 2 or 3, but usually not at number 1. It's pretty tough.
That's fair enough. I feel like because I climb to 1 and 1 in my shards every day, and I can guarantee you that I will not be dropping this ship, especially at 3 stars. And I'm not going to spend $30 to get it to 4 stars. I'm not sure really why they changed the cadence of that, where they're like, oh, suddenly something you got for $10 is now $30. I didn't really examine the pack too much. I just knew I'm not buying this.
It must have actually extra goodies in it or something. I don't
remember. But they're not enough.
It's not enough, and it's usually better for people who are newer than it is for us more seasoned players.
Yeah, because you get 50 Sith Assassin shards. So this assumes that you don't already have Sith Assassin 7 stars, which if you've been playing for over, I'd say maybe a year and a half, why don't you have her? But then again, some people don't. So maybe 50 Sith Assassin shards are good. You get 5 Omegas. You get 8 ship Omegas. You get 25 reinforcement mats. That's neat. But guess what? I got that from the reinforcement mats bundles when those came out. And that was like 2 days worth of rank 1 and 1 arena crystals to buy those packs. So $30? Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah. Bit pricey for me.
So it seems that for Fleet Arena, probably a no. worth wailing on right now? Probably a no. Seems like this ship is more of a TW option to deepen your ship roster in territory wars, and it has some uses, but it's definitely, not going to create a new meta at this time.
Yeah, it's kind of a niche use. I would agree. Yeah.
So let's talk about mods now. Enough of the marquee characters and all the new stuff. Let's talk about mods.
Okay, let's do this, because Nukin, I know you understand this better than I do, but let's break it down here. The cost of upgrading mods were reduced by half, so that means it doesn't cost you 500,000 credits to level up a mod. It costs you 250K. And then there's mod management coming up. There's mod splicing. Actually, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Just take it over from here. What are the mod managements? What is the cost reduction? The auto basic stuff. Fill me in.
So the modding that we've been doing up until now is going to be labeled as advanced modding. And there's going to be another type of modding called basic modding, where it will auto assign, decent options for your character that you want to mod, and they'll just do it for you. So that's going to be basic modding. That will be helpful for...
Who would benefit from that other than a noob?
I was just about to say that, actually. So good question. That's going to benefit... That's going to benefit new players that don't know how to mod. It's going to benefit players that are too lazy to mod their characters and just kind of slap things on them. So players that are also veterans that are, just are lazy. And then it's actually going to help a third group of players. It's going to help everyone when a brand new character comes out and you have no idea on how to mod them. So it'll be a decent option for when new marquee event characters and legendary characters come out. So of course it's probably not going to be perfect. So you're going to still have to, figure it out, have people, tell you how to mod the character eventually, but it'll do the job initially at the get-go decent enough, and then you can fine tune it later. So
okay, so you're saying I just unlocked a new character. I know nothing about it.
Let's do a specific example. Let's do a specific example.
I am. So let's say Bastila.
Let's do Bastila.
I leveled her to 50, and what this mod assignment will do is that if I don't want to pick and prod through my mods and try to find sets, the game is going to tell me, here's the best available mods you have not equipped that might be good for this character. Do you want to equip them? Is that right?
So it'll make a 4-piece set and a 2-piece set, and it'll also put in decent primaries and maybe even decent secondaries for the character. Now, of course, there's also multiple ways to mod a character. So, for example, you could do speed sets, you can do crit damage sets, etc. So there's going to be multiple ways to mod and multiple 2-piece sets. Sometimes you do health, sometimes you do tenacity, sometimes you do crit chance, potency, etc. And so that's all going to be, there's going to be multiple options, but the game is going to have sort of an algorithm that'll do something decent. It won't be bad. Okay. It may not be,
I don't think it may not be
perfect.
Bad.
It may not be perfect, but it'll be decent. So that's
I just think that the developers' focus on doing auto basic modding is something for people that play the game but don't talk to anyone else that plays the game. Like they have no Nukin in their life, or no community they talk to or something like that.
Yeah,
they just auto click.
I guess that's a fourth group of players. It could be just players that aren't quite good at the game.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, we just created a new category. Four category.
Yeah, okay. No, we didn't just create that. It's just anyway, the mod sets thing is what I'm more interested in.
Right.
And you had more to say about that.
So everyone wanted mod management, and they were calling it mod sets, the community was, and actually forgot what they were calling. Oh yeah, mod layouts is I think what Capital Games decided to call it. Not sure why, but basically you can save mod sets and then you can quickly take off mods wherever they are and then apply them the character of your choosing. So this is great. You can also name the set and then you'll be able to quickly mod swap a bunch. So mod management is going to be coming later this quarter. So that's going to be great. What are you going to do with mod management? Are you going to, basically be able to swap mods in the middle of a raid? Probably not. But what you'll probably end up doing is being able to quickly put a raid mod set versus an arena mod set on characters prior to an event. So, for example, let's say that you're doing the heroic Sith raid and you mod a character a particular way, and then you finish the Sith raid, and then Territory Wars is coming up, and then you kind of switch off the raid mods, you put on the more sort of PvP related mods, you probably boost the speed of the character or something, and then you can quickly kind of do that. That's kind of what I expect people to use the mod sets for. What do you think?
I truly hope this is really valuable because in a lot of cases, some of the mods that get switched between players for different game modes, it's one or two mods, not an entire set, which is great to be able to give like your best speed set and say, this is my best speed set, and then switch it around with one click rather than, 20. But some characters I'll just like, he needs a potency cross and he needs a speed arrow, or I'm going to take away the speed arrow this time because he needs to be slow on a Chex Mix team or, Snake Train team. And so I don't know. I feel like this is a good step in the right direction of mod management, being able to name a mod set. I just hope it's not too expensive to move it around. But I don't have a lot of characters that are like vying for the same sets where I'm like, I'm going to give you this guys and do that guys. So
and we should
I
also
think
talk about
it's a step in the right direction.
Right. And we should also talk about mod slicing since we're talking about mods, right?
Oh, yeah. Mod slicing. This is huge. Go ahead, man.
So no one was really expecting this. I mean, everyone wanted mod management. I don't think anyone was really asking for mod slicing. I mean, it may have been brought up, but overall, the community was not super into the idea overall. But I think, it could be, if implemented well, slicing could actually be great. So it depends on, how CG decides to make it. Like, will it be super grindy? Will it be super easy? We'll have to find out. We don't have enough information yet, but basically slicing, and it's not splicing, it's slicing, like you're slicing a loaf.
No way you have to define that, but yeah.
Yes. Well, people are using it interchangeably, and it was like becoming a pet peeve. Anyways.
Okay.
Slicing is when you take a mod, it has to be 5 dots. You can't slice 3 or 4 dot mods. And it has to be level 15. And it has to have all the secondaries revealed. And then you can upgrade a random secondary and make it better. So what secondaries?
Only if it's not gold first. So you would want speed or like offense,
I think you might be able to slice gold mons as well. But anyways, nevertheless, what kind of secondaries are you going to want to probably upgrade? Well,
speed.
Speed is probably the best secondary in the game, at least for PvP. So that's going to be a big one. And then other secondaries, flat offense, crit chance or potency, stuff like that. Those are going to be good secondaries to try and slice. And you're going to be able to slice the mods by collecting a salvage in the mod battles, which is something that I don't think any of us have really done for the last 2 years. A single mod battle. So
yeah,
that'll be interesting.
What's a mod battle?
So
wait, you mean the thing I've been simming for a year and a half?
You've been doing it wrong, my friend. That's why all my mods suck. Okay, so what to do? You're going to have to acquire the salvage, and then I guess you're going to use that salvage to slice your mods. And what are you going to probably slice? Are you going to try and slice a gray mod or a green mod? What do you guys think? Are you going to try and slice blue or purple or something like that?
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong here. Once they implement this means that all your maxed mods that are equipped that did not start as gold, even if they're leveled to 15, will still show up at their original level. So if it's a blue mod and it's on your arena team and it happened to proc a lot of speed, it will show up as a blue mod. So that would be your best opportunity to, as Avi said earlier, double down on it, go all in, and just hope and pray to RNGesus that it procs speed again.
Right.
Am I correct in this?
Well, I mean, yeah, you have to get lucky, but mods are super accessible nowadays, and eventually when you slice enough mods, you're going to get what you want eventually, So it's not going to be that big of a deal if it doesn't immediately slice what you want, because everyone has been grinding mods for secondary speed for the last 2 years. It's been the most important stat, and you've probably kept most of the mods that you've kept have secondary speed on them. So just
exactly.
by you probably have hundreds of mods with secondary speed right now. So just by math, eventually you're going to slice a mod that has secondary speed, and the secondary speed will get sliced. The stat that you do want, and so eventually you should be able to quickly kind of slice up all of your arena mods, or swap them to your team.
Okay, so your question was about which mods do you slice first? I don't know. I don't know if you'll be able to slice a gold mod. It would be something on your arena team with a high speed secondary, and you hope and pray that speed procs.
Right.
It's not guaranteed though, right?
Well, yeah, it's random. But to answer the question, you probably don't want to slice gray or green mods. You want to slice the highest quality mod that you can first. That's going to be our recommendation.
Green, blue, purple.
Right.
Regardless if it's purple or gold, I don't think we have the confirmed answer here. But
right.
when the patch drops, you're going to want to slice the highest quality mods that you can. So whatever is the highest quality mod, slice those. So that's probably the best to do.
Okay. As long as they're not gold, I don't think it was I thought slicing meant it takes the mod to a different tier of one color to another, and that golds were not sliceable unless it turns it into a 6-dot mod. I don't know. Are 6-dot mods coming?
Right. So slicing, might mean that we're one step closer to that. 6-dot mods. Do you remember like the GIFs of some of the marquee event characters that came out and they accidentally showcased 6 and 7-dot mods on the GIFs?
Oh yeah.
So
yes.
They definitely exist, in a sort of, test environment build, because we've seen them on GIFs accidentally. So they definitely exist already. They're not in the live environment right now. So the question is, are they fine? Are we one step closer to that? I think so. I'm not sure if I think it would be really foolish, in my opinion, for them to unleash 6-dot mods simultaneously and mod slicing at the same exact time. but you never know. I think that would be a little bit overwhelming, but I wouldn't be surprised that, 2 to 3 months after slicing comes out, 6-dot mods could come out as soon as that. Here, I'll say this. I predict 6-dot mods are probably coming in the next 6 to 12 months. That's my prediction. So,
well, that's a long range of time, but it seems
but
reasonable.
it could come out as soon as a few months. So we'll see.
I mean, those extra 2 dots have been in the game since mods came out, so there's a place for them, right?
I'm not super excited about 6-dot mods. Are you guys?
Not really.
No.
Yeah.
Wasn't there something
that I lucked out on? Seem less.
Wasn't there something when mods first came out, like there was a 6 or 7-dot mod or something that came out?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah. Remember? And I remember getting it, and all of a sudden it disappeared. I was really ticked off about that.
Oh, well, that was back when there was like speed arrows with speed secondaries on them.
That was when mods first came out. You went through this event and you got the mod. And then they took it away from you.
It was a rank war. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and they took it away from you.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say this. I don't have enough 5-dot mods at the moment. So the fact that 6-dot mods could be here in, a few months from now, and even if it came out 12 months from now, at the cadence of characters that are being released and the necessity of needing to acquire higher and higher quality mods over time, it's just, I don't know. I'm not prepared.
It's mind-boggling.
The only ones who are prepared are whales who can empty their wallets into...
Right. If you're a Kraken, you're prepared, but everyone else is probably not.
Yes, we the Quakens.
So the mod thing, I think we've dived into that enough. Does anyone have anything else to say about that, or should we close it out and talk about what we know about August? What's coming up?
Yeah, let's talk about August.
Okay, so our new character of the month is Dengar.
Dengar!
Wow.
What a great tune. Yeah, he's so meta, man.
Okay, so what does it mean?
What does this mean?
Lando being the last character means that we got a new Lando who is unremarkable in every way, ranking at the bottom of the list.
Well, no, take it back. Take it back. That ship is actually decent. When it becomes free to play, I'll probably grind that ship.
Oh, I will grind that ship. Actually, that ship is very decent. It's more than decent. It's just one thing I've noticed, to derail here, in my ship shards, there are some whales that got that ship, though, and have him as a reinforcement, and the AI has never, ever called it. Like, I will win the battle before it gets called. I don't know why, but they only experience using that ship. And it's great. It's a great ship. It really is. But they only get to use that when they're playing the game. Under the AI's control, it's the last one in the slot every time. Well, I don't know why.
Nice derail, Knotty. No one cares.
Well, I'm just saying, it's a good ship, but...
Okay, but you have a good point. You have a good point. You have a good point.
Right.
Yeah. I think actually people that might have wailed on it might care.
Right. So does this mean we might be getting a new bounty hunter, maybe?
But yeah, back to Dengar.
Oh, back to Dengar.
What does this mean?
So are we going to have some additional bounty hunters? One?
Do you think we might get more bounty hunters?
Possibly.
Or drum roll, a legendary bounty hunter?
Django
Fett? Like someone who's really... Actually, you know what? If it was Django Fett and he had clone synergy, because he's basically...
That would be awesome. He's a clone.
Basically, all the clones are Django's DNA, right?
Yep.
That would be dope. You know what I would love to see is if clones were cool. Anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent. I have no idea if that's the case. But if Dengar does mean a new bounty hunter tune, who could that be? Are there any other bounty hunters we don't have?
Oh, there's plenty of other bounty hunters.
There's like
Right.
Zeus or whatever his name is. That
The one
weird
guy
thing.
with the hat that he throws, Embo. That's another one.
Oh, yeah.
Embo's already in the game. We could, but would he be the legendary bounty hunter?
Well,
Come on.
No.
Like I said, not I said, but Abby said, it could be a new bounty hunter tune. It could be a new marquee event character as well. So,
Right.
It could be. I would
Mhm.
just imagine if there was a legendary tune coming into the game, if it would happen, which I don't know, it would be a character that is more universal than someone that was just in the Clone Wars or Rebels. It would
Well,
be
we do
someone
need a
that
new
was in movie.
legendary.
Mhm.
The new legendary, because we haven't had a legendary this year yet. So
All year.
we're ripe for one. We're ripe for one. And what could
Have
it be?
we not had one all year? Was the last
No,
one
we
Jedi
haven't.
Ray?
We
Yeah.
haven't.
We haven't had one all
Really?
year.
So we all wrote down a bullet point. Abby thought you could be a new bounty hunter. Knotty, why don't you tell us what you think it might mean?
Oh, Dengar. Yeah. So this is little known trivia. But Dengar actually has a ship and it's called the Punishing One.
The punishing
And yeah, and I don't know why it's so funny to me. Just the name of his ship is the Punishing
because it's
One.
probably the most
You know?
lamest name ever.
I know. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
man.
like-
it would just, it's like the most cliche name of a rich guy that just bought a yacht. He's like, the Punishing One, and writes it on the back. And everyone's just like, oh, get out of the harbor, man.
It also kind of
Don't do
sounds
whatever
like
you
a wrestler's name.
No, actually,
Yeah,
it sounds like a bad place for a date. Like
Yes,
you just go,
it
hey,
does.
you,
Yeah.
hey, you want to go to the Punishing One, man? That's just a really cool
Yeah,
place to have. a
Dengar-
date.
I would agree. I
Dengar,
would,
like if Dengar wrapped in ace bandages had strong enough game to pull 10 girls to his yacht, they would see the name of it and be like, you know what? We're going to do something else. Sorry.
well, okay. And then
Anyway, all right, let's talk about other other
hold
bounty
on.
hunters.
hold on. And then
Okay.
to wrap it up, my idea, which is probably the most realistic one, I think,
I don't think so.
contract. The developers did state that when they reworked the bounty hunters, that later down the road, eventually Cad Bane and Zam Wessel would be receiving contracts as well. They were the only two bounty hunters that didn't get a contract payout. And so I think that maybe August is the month that Cad Bane and Zam Wessel get their contract payout.
Oh my
that
God, I
would be
totally
cool.
forgot. I totally forgot she didn't have one.
Mm-hmm.
Cad Bane, I knew, well, he's kind of useless anyway, but I forgot Zam didn't even have
Not
one.
if he gets a baller contract. So,
Yeah,
Well, we'll
if he
see.
gets a contract under, that would be great because I mean, let's be honest, the only place we use these two characters is Dark Side territory battles and the
Right.
missions they're required for where they fight Wampas. But stun is extremely valuable. Thermal detonators, less valuable because they get cleansed if the Wampa is not ability blocked. But Zam Wessel, like I said before, is one of the fastest characters in the game at base speed. So that should work for her better, you know?
mhm.
So, yeah, we'll see what maybe they'll get contracts. I don't know. That would be interesting.
Well,
Also,
that's my guess.
bounty hunters are the budding team, especially under a boss bleed in territory wars, where you just don't want to fight them.
Well, I know.
So
how to fight
adding-
them.
Well, okay, how?
Well, I did a
Inform us.
video on it. Someone didn't watch my video.
Okay, we'll link your video. Dude, it's a podcast. I'm saying talk about something.
Oh, Jesus. All right. Well, if you use the Imperial Troopers with Range Trooper, you can demolish the bounty hunters. In fact, you can actually do it with just 4 Imperial Troopers. You don't even need 5. So, well, that
Okay,
might
Troopers
change.
team. Gotcha.
That might change if Cad Bane and Zam Wessel get baller contracts. But assuming that they don't, the Range Trooper and the Imperial Troopers can take them out. And I have a
Gotcha.
video on that on my
Okay.
channel. They can also beat
Yes,
First Order too.
do.
Anyways.
You know what? We should make a note to link that at the bottom because yes, I've seen it. I just,
all right, we'll link it in the video description.
Okay, so let's close it out right now. We're roughly an hour in. So you want to do what you're working on?
Mm-hmm.
Or does anyone want to talk? Avi, do you want to talk about bounty hunters more?
Sure.
Are you good?
Yeah, because I'm basically continuing to work on my bounty hunters. I keep getting distracted by shiny objects and thinking, oh, here, I need to work on this tune. So, but bounty hunters, now that they've been reworked pretty well, that I really want to get them up there, especially Bosk, who one of my accounts, I have him at G12. But, and I'm working on it. Unfortunately, I don't have his twin brother, Gorn, who is from the original series Star Trek, who is what he looks like. And I'm also making sure that all my Wampas and Hermit Yodas are starting geared as well. I've just about got them all at 7 stars now, and then I can start concentrating on some of the gear. But one of the things that I really want to do for the T3 M4 is I want to make a little fluffy tail for it and be able to attach it to my little Roomba with legs and have them run around on the battlefield with me is what I want to do.
Oh, are you talking about T3?
Yes, my T3 M4, okay. Yes. So he'd really look good with the tail, and I think he'd work really well on the battlefield with me.
So you're going to level him just for his looks?
I think I should. I think I should.
He reminds you of your vacuum cleaner? Well, just so you know, if you do have a Roomba, don't have dogs with diarrhea in your house because they'll just spread a thin glaze of that all over the house.
I know friends.
Nukin, what are you working on?
Well, thanks for asking. I'm working on resistance fill. So I'm working on taking my resistance trooper and scavenger ray to gear 12 finally. It's about time. They've been gear 11 for a very long time, and I'm finally getting around to gearing them up to gear 12. And this is specifically for Territory Wars. And I'm using them in TW on offense on my Zeta Finn team. And I found that sometimes when the other teams are outspeeding my resistance team, they have a chance of actually dying before they get to do anything. So I'm hoping that at gear 12, they'll be able to withstand the initial onslaught and I'll be able to recover from there. So I am working on getting them to gear 12. Scavenger Ray is actually really difficult to take to gear 12.
Dude, she needs 3 stun guns to go from 11 to 12.
Really difficult. So that's what I'm working on. It's for TW, and I'm actually really enjoying using the resistance against some of the meta teams. Basically a lot of the teams that you see on defense in TW, a Zeta Finn resistance team can probably take them out. So
I had a great time this time around in TW with the Zeta Finn resistance team.
What are the teams you typically use resistance against? What's your preferred team that's a guaranteed win? Or a close one?
You can use them on against General Kenobi Barris team. You can use them against First Order. You can use them against bounty hunters, the solo scoundrels. There's a whole bunch of teams that they can take out. So as long as you have the Zeta Finn, Zeta, and you have some decent mods, and you've taken them up to that gear 11 and 12 range, you'll have some success with them in TW. So
have you ever used resistance against a Treya lead before?
They could also do Treya, but you might need to throw in Nest in there potentially. So yeah, I have done it before, but not
I've
recommended.
heard rumors of resistance. They're like, oh, I just used my resistance against Treya. I'm like, what? Who? How?
I don't want to get into a huge rant, but just the fact that you see something, I'm speaking not to you, but to everyone in general. If you see, a team beating another team, you have to always ask yourself, well, was that the one time that they won? or can you consistently pull off the strategy? And the resistance team actually is not, I would not recommend the Zeta Fin Resistance team to be trying to tackle the Treo teams. So,
okay, gotcha.
Great.
All right.
Yeah.
But
Thank
anyways,
you, Nukin.
Knotty, what are you working on?
What am I working? So recently it's been Bastila. I just gave her a Zeta. Had great success with her in the last TW cycle. I was actually super surprised at giving her the last Zeta mats I had on how well they perform against, especially EP lead. I did not try them against a trail lead, but the strongest teams I can pick to try them against, Bastila and Jedi, really, really work well. Otherwise than that, I have not starred them up that much. I really wish I had a 7-star Bastila and Range Trooper. Another thing that I've been working on specifically for Territory Wars is to have a Traya killer team, like a team that I know that I can guarantee when I drop in, the team is going to die on one hit. And that's the Thrawn Magma Trooper team. So I'm working on Magma Trooper as well. But other than that, just kind of business as usual, farming stun guns and cuffs and Carbantes and and eyeballs, all the things everybody needs, and just slowly wondering where I place them on all the teams to be an effective guildmate and productive in other game modes like Territory Wars. Because that's really the game mode that stretches your roster and your mods beyond what you thought possible.
Yes, it is.
On that note, though, are we good to go?
Yep.
Good to go.
Okay. We're at a solid hour here. I think this was a great podcast. So here, let's close it out. So thanks everybody for listening. This has been another SWGOH In-Depth podcast. Thanks for being here. Nukin, close it out for us.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure, Knotty and Abby, and thanks everyone for listening in. Quick reminder, actually make sure to go to the video description and join our Discord server where we have, hundreds and hundreds of people. We're going to be doing that Ask Me Anything where you can ask Abby, Knotty, and myself questions. We'll be answering them live. We might even record it actually as well. And the Discord server will be in the video description. And if you want to just type it out, it's discord.me/Nukin. So thanks so much, everyone, for watching, and we'll catch you next month.
Night, everybody.
Night.
You're welcome.